Hey guys, this is your introduction to lab number 6 on chapter 5. It's continuous random variables with StatCrunch. You're going to use StatCrunch in this lab. Here's what's going to happen. You can see this description right there. You're going to be given several typical homework / exam style questions. So sometimes in our labs, we really like to investigate, some other sort of application that we wouldn't otherwise see in the homework. Not the case here. The problems you're going to see are just the same style that you'll get in the homework or on a test. Here is the extra component for our lab. You will then do the problems again using a calculator in StatCrunch for the appropriate type of distribution. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So number 1 here, you'll need to use the ideas behind the exponential distribution. So you're given some information there, and you got 4 questions about it, finding probabilities. Then part D is a percentile style question. So you'll answer all of these. Number 2 then says, once you've answered everything in number 1, go back and redo those 4 questions, but use your StatCrunch calculator. So here's what you'll do. You will log into your StatCrunch account, of course, click Open StatCrunch, and then click Stat and Calculators. Let me show you what that's all about. So here I am. I've just opened StatCrunch. So I'll go over to Stat and then Calculators. And to redo the problems in number 1, we need the exponential calculator. So I get something like this. Okay, so what's pretty nifty is you see this graph of an exponential distribution, right? Here you can type in the mean, and then you can perform whatever you need to down here. So you've got a less than, you can switch that to be a greater than, and you can type in the value you're looking at right there. Pretty cool. Also, a couple other things. At the top, it's originally on the standard mode. You can also use the between mode if you are finding the probability between 2 values. So you could put the first value here, the second value there, and then hit compute, and it will tell you the probability, just the probability between them. And you notice that as you change these numbers around, it ends up changing the graph as well to be exactly what you found. And even as you change the mean, you'll see these values shift and match graph exactly what is happening in your particular problem. So for instance, if we look at number 1, part A, maybe we should just go ahead and do that one together. If we read the top here, it says, let me skip to it. Let's see, say the mean distance that someone is willing to commute is 20 miles. So we'd go into our calculator. Our mean would be 20. Okay. And it says in part A, what is the probability that a randomly selected person is willing to commute 25 miles, kind of implied up to 25 miles to work. So we'd come back here and say, okay, that's not a between, that's a standard. So less than 25, hit compute, and it gives us the answer right there. That should agree with the answer we did by hand before. And it also gives us this cool graph from 0 up to 25, shading the correct area. So you'll then save this graph. If you don't remember how to do that, go up to Options, Copy, and then right-click it, and you can save that image. I'm working on a PC, of course. And then save that into a document that you'll end up turning in as well. If you wanted, let's see, part B is a between 10 and 20 miles. So in that case, we want to go to the between 10 and 20. It's already there. And we'll get that shaded region just between 10 and 20, and there's the answer. Should agree with what we did before. I should also point out the percentile style question here at the bottom. What is the 70th percentile? So that means you're working backwards, right? So what you would do is say, okay, go back to the standard, pick a less than, because a percentile is always less than, delete this because we're trying to use this backwards. What you can do is type in the percentile to the answer. So this one was the 70th percentile, so I'll type in 0.70, and I can hit compute there, and it will do it backwards, and this should have been the answer we got before. There's the 70th percentile. Okay, so you guys will need to do these. So go through all those in number 1 and then redo them in number 2 and save each of those graphs. In number 3, now we do the uniform distribution. So you'll go and answer all of these 6 questions by hand, using the formulas. And then in number 4, you'll go back and do them all again, but using the uniform calculator. So if you close this, there is also a uniform calculator right there, and you can do all the same stuff, the standard, the between, all of that. Okay, so that is your introduction. Good luck.